Hello friends, this is Dalpat Sonagra, Assistant Professor in Computer Science Engineering Department, Government Women Engineering College. In this lecture, we discuss simplification of context-free grammar by elimination of unit production. And this lecture is in continuation of my previous lecture, that is simplification of context-free grammar part 5. Here we discuss how and why the unit production are to be eliminated. First we discuss why we have a need to eliminate unit production. We know that unit production are only used in any course of derivation for a string for replacing the variable or renaming the variable in the course of derivation. Therefore, those are means a unit productions are useless in any grammar because they only replacing one variable by other. Therefore, we have a need to eliminate the unit production. And how we can do this? We do this by a very simple procedure which we discuss here. Before this, we again recall what is actually unit production. Okay, a production is a production in a context-free grammar having the form alpha tends to beta when both the side having exactly one variable in this side and this side, then this form of production is known as unit production. You can see C tends to D. This is the unit production. Okay, hope this is clear. So here we discuss how we eliminate the unit production. Okay, look at the unit production. D tends to E. In a context-free grammar, G, and where G described by the set of variables, set of terminal, S is starting variable, and P is the set of production given like this. Okay, so this is a unit production, and if we note over this unit production, then we notice that in any derivation for a terminal string, whenever whatever E is derived, that is also derived by D, because in a course of derivation, first D is replaced by variable E, and after that E is replaced by A by using this production. So if we think that if we remove both of these production and if we remove this unit production and we include directly D tends to A, then we can eliminate the things D tends to A. So we include new production that is D tends to A, because A derives A and then indirectly D derives also A. So there is no use of this unit production. So we can eliminate this unit production by including this is new production. Okay. So in this modified grammar G1, also there are unit production C tends to D. So notice here, whatever D is derived, that is also derived by variable C, because in a course of derivation, whenever C comes, C is replaced by D. Okay, and further that D is replaced by A. So we can say if we remove this production C tends to D and we make a new transaction that is C tends to A, then this can also work as it is same as G1. So we can done this in our next simplified grammar G2, and we include what C tends to A. Again, this simplified grammar G2 having one more unit production, that is B tends to C. So we can remove this B tends to C also and make a new transaction that is B tends to small a. So here we again include B tends to A, and this is the new simplified grammar G3. This G3 does not having any unit production, and the language which is derived by G3 is same as language which is derived by G after removing all unit production in a language or a grammar G3. Because when we look over this grammar G, then this grammar G is also deriving the terminal strings AB or AA. Only these two terminal strings are derived by this grammar G, which is also derived by this grammar G3. So you can look over this grammar by trying to find out the final terminal string. Then you can found that the only these two strings AA and ABs are derived by this G, and which is also derived by simplified grammar G3. Hence, when we eliminate a unit production in a given grammar, then the grammar is an equivalent grammar of its previous form. Okay, so here we discuss one more thing, because this is not a final simplified grammar, because uh, we look into our next slide, that is this grammar G3 having these three redundant or useless production, because these three does not appear any course of derivation, because those are not in a sentential form, because always we start with a starting variable, and that is what S tends to capital A and B. So again, we don't have any variable C and any variable D or A, and further this A is replaced by only A by using A tends to small a, and we have a choice for B, either A or B. So only these two double A or A B strings are derived by this grammar G3. Hope you understand this. So we can say this, this is also redundant or useless, this is also redundant, and this is also redundant. So simply we can say, if we remove all these three transactions, then we get a new simplified grammar G4. That is purely a simplified grammar with respect to a given grammar G. Hence, you can look at the language of G and language of G3 and language of G4. All these languages are same or equivalent to each other, because all these three derive only two terminal string, either AA or AB. Hence, we conclude that G3 is a simplified grammar that does not having a unit production, and G4 is purely simplified grammar which is not further simplified. Hope you understand. Okay, so next we go for one theorem that is always used to eliminate unit production. For the simplification of context-free grammar, we have to use other theorems also, as discussed in our previous lecture. So here we discuss one theorem that is used to eliminate unit production. Suppose we have a given grammar G and we have to construct corresponding grammar G1 that does not having the unit production, and the language of G1 and language of G both should be equal. So this theorem having two steps. In step first, we construct for each variable in a grammar G a set of all derivable variables by like that is indicated by WA. This WA represent all the set of variables that is derived by A. Okay, so initially initially each variable is derivable by itself. So W0 of A is having A only, and this is a recursively process. So next, if we construct Wi plus 1, then we use the previously calculated derivable set of variables. So here we use wi a, which is previously calculated set of derivable variables, and this is the successor of it. Okay, and in this case here we find out those variable which is derived from this previously calculated set of derivable variables. Like if suppose c is a variable which is belongs to the previously calculated set of derivable variables, then if c derives any term, sorry, any variable, and we have a production like this in our grammar G, then we include this B also in this set, and after taking the union of both we get the next set of variables which is derived from the variable A. Like this we find out all the variables which is derived by A, and of course this set wi of A is belongs to set of variable, because always it contains the variables from the variable set V. So one more thing, each wi of A is a subset of its successor. Means if the w0 is a subset of w1 and w1 is a subset of w2, like this. And of course we know that V is a finite set of variables. Always the set of variable having the finite number of variable. So for a particular k which is less than equals to the number of variables in a set of variable V, we found a wk of A which is equals to its successor, that is wk plus 1. On that situation, the wk of A is defined the set of all variable which is derived from A. And I think you understand this. If it is not if you have any doubt, then I suggest please listen one again, and we will discuss the same procedure with one new example in our next slide. Okay, so in a second step, we construct the set of production, a simplified set of production by using the set of production in a grammar G. So here simplified set of production is denoted by P1, and the previously and the grammar G having the set of production P. Okay. So in very first step, we include all those non-unit production which is available in set of production P into the set of simplified production P1. Like the production those does not having uh, uh, unit production, sorry, the production those are not unit productions are included into this step. Hope you understand this. Okay, and for next step, when we eliminate a unit production, then we have to add some new production into the simplified set of production. So how we can construct those new production, uh, that is uh, that is discussed in this step. Suppose we have a production V tends to alpha in our set of production P in a given grammar G, and this variable V belongs to set of derivable variables A. Then and alpha does not belongs to single variable. Okay, it means alpha could be any combination of variable and terminal. It could be a terminal, it could be a null also, but it is not a single variable. On that situation, if B belongs to set of all derivable variable A and alpha does not having a single variable, on that case we include A tends to alpha in a simplified set of production P1. It is also discussed by one particular example in our next slide, And at this stage, by using step 1 and step 2, we defined a simplified grammar G1, and the language of G1 and language of G both are equivalent, which we have seen in our previous example also. Let us discuss it one new example. So here we take one new example. Okay, let us, we have given a grammar G, and the productions are like this: S tends to ACA, and like this. Okay, and A tends to this. Okay, and B tends to this, and okay, these are our productions, and we construct the corresponding simplified grammar G1 that does not having unit production. Okay, so in first step, we construct the set of, we construct for each variable in a grammar G the set of derivable variables. So we choose first S, which is belongs to V, and we construct W of S, that is represent all the set of variables which is derived from S, and it is recursively. So in very first, every variable is derived from itself, like S is derived by itself. Okay, okay, it is a simple consideration. So in a W0, we W0 of S we consider S itself. Okay, and next for W1 we use previously calculated W0 and the new set of variable. In this we construct, we choose those variable which is derived by S, previously calculated derivable variables for S, and in this case only S is having in a W0. So we include all those variables which is derived from S, and for this we have to look into the set of production in a given grammar G. So if you think, if you look, S derived A and also S derived C. So here we include both A and C, and when we taking the union of both, then we get S and S comma A comma C. Okay, so at iteration 1, the set of derivable variables by S is S, A and C. Now we go for next iteration, W2 of S. In this we include previously calculated set of all variables derived from S, and now here we choose all those variable which is derived from previously calculated set of variable. So we look, uh, so we have seen in this production, like A derives B, so we include B. A derives C, so we include B and C, because B and C both are derived from A, and actually this is derived by S also, because S derives A and A derives B. Like this, S derives A and A derives C, and of course A derives both, and C derives itself, and C does not derives B, but B derives by S and A. So B and C include in this step. So finally, at iteration 2, the for variable S, the set of derivable variables are S, A, C and B. Now we go for a next iteration. In this next iteration, we don't form any variable which is derived by S, A, C, B. So the our final answer means a set of all variables which is derived by S is given by S, A, C, B. Hope you understand this. Similarly, we calculate W of A, W of B and W of C, because we having these four four variables in set of variables, okay, in a grammar G. Next, we go for our next step. Okay, so this is our next step, construction of production. In a previous step first we calculated this. Okay, so in next step we first include, next step we construct the set of simplified production, and in this step we include all those non-unit production available in set of production P. We include those into a simplified set of production P. Okay, like S tends to ACA. This is not unit production, like all these are not unit production, so we include all this into a set of simplified set of production P1. Okay, now in this production we add new production when we eliminate a unit production. Okay, so look at this. We know that S tends to A is a unit production which is available in set of production P. So we know that whatever derived by A, that is also derived by S. So if A derives small a, capital A and small a, then indirectly S also derived these. So we can write S tends to small a, capital A and small a. So how we achieve this thing? By using this step. Okay, so this step B of step second. So look uh, look the form. B tends to alpha. Okay, uh, so look the form B tends to, consider this is the B tends to alpha, where this B belongs to W of S. Okay, and this alpha does not a single variable. Therefore, we include S tends to A, capital A, small a, as this is given in the rule in this step. Okay, whenever the B tends to alpha is in P, okay, and this B belongs to this the set of derivable variable from A, and this alpha is not a single variable, then we can include A tends to alpha. Okay, by using this principle we can add S tends to small a, capital A and small a, like this, and for others also, as it is simple. Okay, so finally the all set of production in a simplified set of production P1s are given like this. And so by step first and second we define a simplified grammar G1, and the language of G1 is equals to language of G2. Okay, thank you. If you have any query, then please mail at this, and this lecture is reference to Kilpi Mishra and Sudcamp book. Thank you very much.